Syracuse is a fisherman who goes out to the waves off the craggy coast of Ireland every day to live a basic and lonely existence. One day, his routine is disturbed by an unexpected discovery. A young lady, frightened yet empathetic, gets entangled in his fishing nets. Syracuse yanks her swiftly into his little boat. He is happy that she doesn't seem physically hurt when she regains consciousness, but her conduct is strange and perplexing. He suggests that she be checked out at a hospital, but she declines, saying she can't recall how old she is. Syracuse believes that because of the horrible event she was in at sea, she may be experiencing amnesia. She is reluctant to provide any personal information, but Syracuse makes the decision to assist her and offers her a place to stay at his late mother's remote home. Before leaving, he gives her some sandwiches, reassures her, and says he has to go see his daughter. During one of these sessions, Annie, a bright and imaginative little girl suffering from renal disease, required daily dialysis treatments. Annie lived with his ex-wife, Maura Annie. Syracuse, who is obviously attracted to her, tells her a tale about a fisherman who uses his nets to capture an enigmatic lady from the sea. Given Annie's deep interest in mythology and folklore, it's possible that this lady is a selkie, a legendary monster that she studied in school. Selkies are said to be seal-like animals that may land in human form, but after Annie's dialysis treatment, must finally return to the sea. She is led back to Maura's home by Syracuse. While battling her own problems, Maura excitedly shows Annie her brand-new electric wheelchair. Even though Annie is thrilled and shows her father how it works, Maura's criticism of Syracuse for not consulting the doctor about their daughter's kidney replacement soon puts an end to the pleasant moment. Syracuse comes back the next morning to see how the mystery lady he found in the nets the day before is doing. When she requests to come on his boat, he is taken aback to hear her singing a melancholic tune in an unknown tongue while doing her laundry in a stream. Syracuse concurs, drawn to her presence and the enigma that encircles her when they are at sea. At last, she says hello to everyone as Andine, a name that curiously means from the water. Syracuse discovers his lobster traps are sadly empty when he pauses to inspect them. But as Andine starts to sing her peculiar hypnotic song, the traps start to mysteriously fill with lobsters, and Andine assists him in hauling in the catch. She doesn't want to go with him to the market to sell the lobsters, even though she's intrigued and a little perplexed by his habit of discarding the smaller lobsters back into the ocean. Astonished by his unexpected good fortune, Syracuse sells the lobsters to shocked customers and uses the proceeds to purchase a dress for Andine. He picks Annie up from school on his way home, and he tells her the tale of the fisherman and the lady from the sea again, making clear connections between it and his own recent events, which now seem too unbelievable to be genuine. When Syracuse returns to his mother's cottage, where Andine has been living, after dropping Annie off at Moore's house, he finds her chatting with his father, who asks about her future intentions. When he learns that Syracuse will determine how long Andine stays, he starts to consider the thought of Andine staying with him forever. It's becoming more and more plausible that she will make a lasting difference in his and Annie's life, turning them into the kind of fairy tale he's been telling his daughter. Annie, meantime, is becoming more and more certain that Andine is a selkie who is curious to find out more after seeing her father's interactions with the latter. She goes to the library and takes out numerous books about the stories around Celis. Syracuse goes to the neighborhood church to confess, as he's struggling with his own inner anguish and unanswered questions. He acknowledges to the priest that despite not having used alcohol in more than 2 years, he still views himself as an alcoholic who is troubled by memories and hardships from his past. He talks about a reoccurring dream in which he goes to his ex-wife, Maura's new spouse, Alex's burial. In the dream, this incident somehow triggers a rekindled romance between him and Maura, who both battle alcoholism. In order to help him cope with his unsolved concerns, the priest proposes that Syracuse contact a psychologist, But Syracuse is adamant about the privacy of his confession. In addition, he tells the priest that he has rescued a lady from the river and is currently keeping her secret from the public. The worried-looking priest implores Syracuse to come to Mass, but Syracuse refuses to go. Andine, meantime, spends her days tidying up the cottage and looking through the many things Syracuse has brought. She drapes a pair of fishnet stockings over her hand and gets especially enthralled with them, seeing them as webbed like a seal. When Annie arrives at the cottage the next day, she sees Dean swimming in the adjacent water. She steps forward with confidence, saying that she has always known the tale her father told about the fisherman and the sky to be true. Annie confides in Andine about her condition and wonders if Andine might cure her with a childish sense of optimism. She kindly informs her, nevertheless, that she is not endowed with any such supernatural abilities. The two hit it off right away because of Annie's insatiable curiosity and life's many questions. Annie captivates Andine under the sea, and Andine appreciates Annie's simple, vivacious personality. Since honesty is the cornerstone of every genuine relationship, Annie is certain that they always tell each other the truth. When Syracuse enters the library, he discovers that Annie has already checked out every book from her cell. This makes Syracuse even more intrigued by the lady he discovered. Annie meets several neighborhood kids who are strutting their bicycles in the meantime. She lets one of the girls use her electric wheelchair out of kindness, but the other kids forsake her after the wheelchair unintentionally slides into the lake. After making her way home, Annie is assisted in recharging the wheelchair battery by her mother's new spouse, Alex. Though Annie claims that Andine speaks a foreign language, Alex, who is somewhat knowledgeable about folklore, informs her that selkies are a part of Scottish tradition, which only serves to compound the enigma in Annie's mind. Syracuse is still amazed by the almost magical effect Andine has on his success while fishing. He offers to take her back to his boat during their time together after discovering her sitting on a pontoon in the middle of the bay one day. When a police boat unexpectedly comes, Andine swiftly ducks into the hold and uses her foot to steer even though he urges her to do so. As they go on, Syracuse half-jokingly makes fun of her obvious competence, starts singing again, and to Syracuse's surprise, his nets bring up an abundance of salmon, fish that his nets aren't meant to capture. When Syracuse sees this bountiful catch, it is filled with amazement and incredulity. Before he has a chance to bask in his unexpected fortune, however, the patrol boat arrives and the wildlife officials board, insisting on checking his nets. Syracuse demonstrates to them the regular and dry nets, demonstrating that he was unable to capture the salmon by any illicit means. Though dubious at first, the cops depart after Andine verifies Syracuse's account, much to his relief. He offers to buy her a present as Syracuse, and Andine sell the fish back at the dock. Andine decides on a different outfit since she would rather select it herself. They run into Annie as they are leaving the shop, and she is overjoyed to find that her father's narrative is coming to pass. While the residents of the town gaze at the attractive stranger through the window, she excitedly assists Andine in selecting an attire. After a few windows, Annie goes to her grandmother's home, which has been decorated into a warm, joyful environment. Annie accepts Andine's offer to teach her how to swim when she is around her, because she feels comfortable learning from someone who seems to be a natural-born sea creature. But things take a sinister turn during one of their swimming sessions, when Andine discovers something unusual in the water. She takes out a package that, according to the folklore, Annie recognizes right away as silky clothes based on her readings. Andine may stay on land for 7 years if she buries the clothes, unless her SE spouse comes to retrieve her. Annie carefully counts the steps to recall the precise position as Syracuse and Andine get closer. Andine, on Annie's guidance, buries the package in the greenhouse. Anxiety grows in Syracuse. He goes back to the church and confides in the priest about his worries, saying that he is both excited and afraid by the good fortune '09 appears to bring. He talks about having a great worry that something amazing or horrible is going to happen, and he doesn't know how to deal with either scenario. These worries intensify when an enigmatic guy shows up in the community and starts asking questions about Syracuse. Syracuse, who is now fiercely protective of her, ignores the stranger's queries, but there is definitely danger on the horizon. As Maura and Alex's lives go out of hand, the tension grows. Their hardships come to an end in a terrible collision when an inebriated Alex hits the car of the guy who is looking for Andine. Annie gets hurt in the automobile, but amazingly, Alex finds out that she is a suitable kidney donor, and his gift keeps Annie alive. After Syracuse and Andine hurried to the hospital, the guy eventually faced her and disclosed her actual identity in a devastating confession. She is a Romanian lady called Anna who was engaged in smuggling, not a selkie. At the peak of the movie, she is caught in Syracuse's net after swimming to safety after being tossed into the water by her kidnappers after a police pursuit. Syracuse battles the crooks who have located Iana, motivated by his love for Andine and his desire to keep his daughter safe. A heated and perilous altercation breaks out, in which Syracuse and Andine barely escape injury. In the end, Andine is set free from the horrors of her past when Syracuse's courage and fast thinking come to their rescue. But the shadow of Andy's impending deportation hangs over their newfound bliss. In the last moments, Syracuse, determined not to lose her, pops the question of marriage and gives her a means to remain in Ireland and carry on their life together. The narrative ends on a positive note when Annie, who is now recuperating from her operation, informs the priest that her father is getting married. Seeing Syracuse and Andine sailing out together is the last scene we see, their lives now entwined in a narrative that started as a fantasy, but has now become their new reality, a mashup of the movie, the hard realities they have experienced together, and the love myth. You should definitely check out our other recaps if you like this one. To access further material, subscribe. We appreciate your time and we'll see you in the next video.